Hello and good morning. It's Phil Thatch and I'm here in downtown Chattanooga. I'm actually walking around in the breezeway under the more modern of the three buildings at the Hunter Museum of Art here in Chattanooga. We've had a lot of rain over the last 36 or 48 hours, and this morning it cleared up. So I'm going to walk around town and kind of do a little street photography, maybe a little street videography, I'm not sure. But what's different about today is I'm doing the whole thing with one camera and one lens. I have my Z50 and the 16-50 kit lens that comes with it, and I'm using that for the vlogging, I'm using that for the photography, I'm using that for the videography. Everything is done with this one camera and one lens because I think the Z50 can do it all. Got a lot of construction going on here. I guess they are doing some maintenance on the older of the three buildings here at the museum. While I was over at the museum, I made some photographs of some flowers that are growing around there. It's kind of interesting thing about this lens, it will almost do macro. It's certainly, you can get close enough to make a nice photograph of a relatively small flower with this lens. So that's just one of the many things this lens can do. Here are some beautiful flowers that I photographed there near the Hunter Museum of Art. And as you can see, the 16-50 DX Z series kit lens works as a near macro lens. Here's another flower there near the Hunter Museum of Art. And if you look closely, you can see 5 or 6 little critters crawling around on this flower. A lot of construction going on down here. I'm walking around on the Walnut Street Bridge now, and you can see they're doing some digging right here to the right of it, and there's been construction going on at the edge of it for a while. But even with all the construction going on and the temporary fencing, and look at that little pool right there, still a beautiful area. Look at these weird shaped concrete artistic whatever they are on this hill. I don't think I've ever noticed these before. I can hear water running in some of them, like this one over here. You can hear water running inside there. I don't know what they're for. They're kind of cool looking though. Different. Here's the Tennessee Aquarium, and this is Riverset Apartments. You can see the John Ross Market Street Bridge there in between the two buildings. A friend of mine used to live here. His rent for a studio was more than my house payment for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath with a 2-car garage. I find myself taking close-up shots of various spring plant life more than anything else this morning. So I guess I probably could have done this vlog with my macro lens, but I couldn't have vlogged with it, so I would have had to take 2 cameras, or I would have had to swap lenses all the time. But with this 16-50, I can get pretty close to this springtime rejuvenation and turn right around, switch from 50 to 16 millimeters and make a vlog clip like this. Ooh, I just got really backlit. Here are some beautiful spring flowers growing in a tree that was behind me when I made that last video clip there in the parking lot of Riverset Apartments. Well, today is March the 18th, so I imagine last night was a pretty big deal here at the Leprechaun Pub and Eatery. I was taking some photographs of these pieces of wood out here that are covered with water from all the rain we've had, and I found these cool sunglasses that are not really sunglasses. It was fun making this 16mm photograph with foreground bokeh and background bokeh of the water on the beautiful wood with the shamrock-shaped glasses that I found. I made a reflection shot here of this pool. I was surprised how often I was shooting at 16mm during this video because I often, for street photography, prefer lenses that are much longer than 16mm. Here is another 16mm shot of this gentleman as he is paying to park. down the road, and you can see the Chattanooga bicycles that are all over town and available for rent. Now this photograph here is up near the Chattanooga courthouse, or maybe it's the Hamilton County Courthouse, one of those. I thought this shot turned out really nice. And here is another person paying for parking. You remember when people used to pay for parking with change? Now you jab a credit card into a parking meter, and I thought that was kind of an interesting sign of the times. Of course, you know I have a philosophy of never pass up a restroom, especially if you're in an area where there's not many public restrooms available. And I looked down an alley here near the courthouse, maybe a block or so from the courthouse, and there was a porta potty near an area where there's some construction going on, so I was happy to take advantage of it. Here's a small portable crane or some sort of heavy-duty construction device that was right next to that porta potty that I took advantage of there in downtown Chattanooga. I know I show you the dome building a lot on the channel, but I don't usually show it from right beside it. But there it is. And there's what's left of a church over there. Only the steeple is left, basically. But you can see those two landmarks from the tops of parking garages all over town. May 7th, 1891. This property has been placed on the National Register of Historic Places. That's the AT&T building down there. I made a video back when I had my pilot's license with my drone flying all the way around that thing. When I started out, it was pretty bright and sunny. You know, I mean, it was partly cloudy, but there was a lot more sun than we've had lately because of all the weather. And now it is slowly becoming fully overcast, which I think is what it's supposed to be for the rest of the day. I'm walking down ML King Jr. Boulevard now. I like the way this photograph came out of this gentleman as he was jogging down ML King Jr. Boulevard, because it has the Chattanooga Times Free Press building there in the background. When I was a kid, there were two separate papers, the Times and the Free Press, but later they merged, and there is their old brick building. You'll see this a lot in Chattanooga. Establishments with little semi-enclosed but not really areas out front, so you can have a beer outside of the establishment without breaking the law. I'm here on Patton Parkway now, which is a beautiful little block in Chattanooga. They're kind of redoing it, and it's been closed for a long time, but it used to be closed on the right-hand side over here, and now I guess it's kind of finished over here while they're working on the left-hand side. And I'm not overly impressed. I mean, they've laid brick down and put these weird shapes around some freshly planted trees, and there's some benches, which some of them don't seem to be doing too well, which is kind of nice. But I kind of liked it better the way it was. There was a street that went all the way up and around, kind of a circular block with a grassy area in the middle, even had a swing set. I don't know. I mean, the jury's still out because they're not done with it, but so far I think I liked it better before. I made a photograph of this gentleman near the Pickle Barrel restaurant in downtown Chattanooga, and he said, "I hope you got that shot because I don't want you to follow me around all over the place like some other folks do." So apparently he is a common subject for street photographers in downtown Chattanooga. I got the shot. I'm crossing Broad Street on 12th Street now. I'm probably 15 or 16 blocks away from the car, which is back at the Hunter Museum, and it's starting to sprinkle a little bit. So that is an interesting thing. If it gets to raining hard, I may walk over to the choo-choo and take the bus back to relatively close to the museum. This is the TVA building and the TVA building complex here on Chestnut and 12th, and it goes all the way down to 11th. Well, that was an interesting little interlude. I made that shot that you just saw of the TVA building, and the security guard came out and told me, "Excuse me, sir, don't do that." I said, "Don't do what?" He said, "Don't take pictures." I said, "Why not?" He said, "Well, this is a federal building, it's illegal. I'm not going to ask you to delete what you've taken, but I'm just going to ask you not to do that anymore because this is a federal building and it's illegal." So I thought, well, I thought you could take a picture of whatever you wanted as long as you're on the street. So I said, "Yes, sir." And actually he had his hair pulled back into a kind of a cool ponytail. And I said, "Can I take a picture of you?" He said, "No, sir, you may not." So I didn't. But anyway, I went on down the road and I pulled my phone out and did a little Googling. and learned that it's not illegal to take a picture of a federal building or make video of it, although it may arouse suspicions, which could get you into some trouble if you're actually doing something wrong, which of course I'm not. So, stupidly, I turned around and walked back to talk to him and say, hey man, since we spoke before, I've done some research and I found out that it's not illegal to take a picture of a federal building. And he immediately crumbled and said, yes, I'm sorry, you're right, it's not illegal, but we still ask that you don't because of this building being so important and it's locked down and blah, blah, blah. And then I asked him again if I could take a picture of him because I liked his hair, and he said no. So that was fun. I stopped and made some pictures of this little plant that's growing here at the corner of Chestnut Street and M.L. King. I'm not sure what it is, but I think it might be kale. I'm not really 100% sure that this plant is kale, but this top portion I thought was an interesting photograph, but you can kind of see that the bokeh of this lens is not the most pleasing in the world. Really not a great bokeh lens. I'm hanging out right now on Chestnut Street in between M.L. King on this side of the block and 8th Street on that side of the block. So it's a really cool area. We've got the Reed House right behind me, which is an old historic hotel. And lots of other neat stuff like the Umbrella Alley is right around here. This area is really good for photography, and I really like this shot. The well-dressed gentleman and the kind of slouchily dressed lady walking in the other direction, their outfits seem to match in terms of color coordination. And Heather was really happy with this gentleman's outfit because he has his Georgia Bulldogs outfit on. And I like the way the Bulldogs shirt matches the Marriott sign in the background. And of course, I love looking up 8th Street because you can get somebody crossing the road if you stand in the middle of the road to make your shot. And I was not in a crosswalk, but I love to have the dome building in the background. And look at the symmetry of those two black lights there in the foreground on the sides. Rain's starting to come down a little more. If only I had an umbrella. You can't see the umbrellas, but this photograph was made there in the Umbrella Alley. The girl in the center was making photographs of the two girls in the background, and as I walked by, I snapped this shot, which I really liked the way it came out. And later in the day, I saw this same group of 5, and the girl in the baseball cap asked me if she could have dibs on the photograph that I made, and I said absolutely she can, and then she walked off without giving me her contact information. So hopefully she'll see this video. I wonder if there's any place around here to get a beer. You can see how windy it is because this fountain normally falls straight down and it's kind of blowing all over the place. Of course, as soon as I started recording, it quit blowing. There it goes. Waited quite a while sitting on that tall orange curb waiting for the UPS driver to come by. I love the UPS truck with the clouds on the windows and the clouds in the background. And finally, a Federal Express truck came up and its driver walked by, so I made this shot of him. Here's another example of the 16-50 ZDX kit lens and its ability to make a relatively up-close shot that comes out really nice looking at flowers. Now here is that beautiful red door once again, and in this shot, I really improved my symmetry. This has almost Richard Young quality symmetry, but I wasn't happy with the way I caught the people as they walked by. So maybe next time I'll capture perfect symmetry and the people will look good. I'm getting there. The sun has come back out. The rain's been stopped for a while. I've made a number of video clips and photos without mentioning that. Look at this pretty flower. Spring is springing in Chattanooga. There were lots of trees that were flowering there around the downtown area that day, and honestly I'm not sure which kind of tree is what, but I like the way this shot came out. And then this photograph I made of this cyclist as he was riding down the road, and it had lots of overexposure blinkies, and I was able to recover all of them, so I thought the Z50 did really nice on that. Well, it's hours later now, and they are still digging. Still digging. So now I've walked almost all the way back to the car, which I had parked near the Hunter Museum of Art, and I walked out on the Walnut Street pedestrian bridge again, and I was really happy with the symmetry of this photograph of these two ladies talking and the beautiful and majestic dog that one of them had with them. Of course, you know I love to make a panorama, and so while I was on the Walnut Street pedestrian bridge, I made this 13-shot panorama looking over at the John Ross Market Street Bridge. And you can see the water on the right-hand side of the river is green, and on the left side it's brown. And here are the Riverset apartments on the far left side of the frame that I showed you earlier in the video. And here you can see that brown water on the left, and that's where Chickamauga Creek spills into the Tennessee River about a mile or two upstream, and it makes the left side of the river totally brown after a hard rain like we had had the night before. I actually made this photograph right here after I made my goodbye thanks for watching clip of this gentleman walking his dog with the cute pink outfit past the beautiful yellow bushes in the background. Well, I've made it all the way back to where I started here at the Hunter Museum of Art, and I don't know, I feel like I probably made more vlog entries than I did photos, so I will actually have to see how that goes when I get home and start looking at what I've done. But man, I walked a long way. I had to have walked at least 3 miles today. It was a lot of fun, and now I'm going to call it off. I'm going to call it a day. I really appreciate you watching. All this, like I say, was made with the Z50 and the 16 to 50 kit lens. Hope you enjoyed it. Have a great one. Bye-bye.